favorite trio. It is the Talkin Turnbuckles on the Athletically Declined Network. Look at that little boo
Is
boo.
that a little foo-foo?
That's a la boo boo, baby.
That is Angel Kicks Balls. Angel, how's it going?
It's going mighty well, baby.
I see the Power Ranger helmets behind you.
I'm ready to
Happy
go to
30th
war.
anniversary to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, a movie that has a big place in my heart. Everyone's
Same.
first crush, the Pink Ranger, Miss Kimberly.
Kimberly, yes.
On
Amen,
the
brother.
other side next to me, it's Johnny, the dad.
Hang on, I want something cool in mine too.
Oh, wow!
Yo,
Hey,
the J.
okay. My turn.
Show and tell on Talking Turnbuckles.
Show and tell on Talking Turnbuckles. As you all know, last week was the Houston Texans and DJ Screw collaboration,
Ooh.
Oh,
Sick jersey. Sick
and
shirt.
there it is. Now what it came with? This little DJ Screw tape right here, all screwed up. But
I know you grabbed me one of those you got waiting back there. Huh?
and I have a lot of things back here waiting for you. But ladies and
I
gentlemen,
don't know if I should be nervous.
we want to welcome you to a fantastic Monday. It's always fun when the boys are together talking wrestling. Well, today on July 7th, quite a bit of wrestling, boys. Not a lot of talking, a lot of hands. Well, let's first start off with the first setting, which just happened to be some conversation. Once again, this unknown faction of Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins, wow, and Bronson Reed, and of course the wise man Paul Heyman. Actually, let
Oracle.
me ask you a question. The Oracle, I am sorry. And
Oracle
hey,
Paul Heyman.
he busted out some Spanish tonight.
By the way,
Yeah.
that Spanish was horrendous. He said nothing. Nothing was said.
Nothing was said, but I like
I
the
was
effort.
wondering because even my C minus high school Spanish level, I was like, I can't recognize that he really said anything there.
There's no targeting words there. But
Just
Johnny,
English.
this faction is unnamed still. Let's just give it a name, man. Just for the boys. Let's give them one.
Well, I mean, is it unnamed? Because in that promo tonight, he said it twice. Now, I don't know if this is official or whatever, but Paul Heyman said, "The Empire Strikes Back." Wait, no, the Empire Strikes First. So I don't know if that, could have just been a Star Wars quote.
He said it was a
you know?
spoiler.
Yeah, but is that their name? Or are they gonna go by the Empire?
The Sith.
The
It's kinda
Empire. Okay, right. So let's break this down. Paul Heyman, Senator Emperor Palpatine.
Dude, if he came out with the robe with
Seth Rollins,
that's Darth Vader.
Darth Vader.
That got to be Darth Vader.
That has to be Darth Vader.
Bronze Darth Maul.
Okay. Braun.
Mm.
Let's say Braun is Let's say Braun is Boba Fett, the Hitman.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Bounty hunter, hitman
The Bounty
type.
Hunter Hitman. And Bronson is
The big blob. What is that?
General Grievous. He could be
Jabba the
General
Hutt.
Grievous.
General Grievous is
Jabba
pretty
the Hutt.
good. I was
He's
thinking
not
about
that fat.
I was thinking about Count Dooku.
Oh.
But if he's saying Empire, I'm thinking about the times back then. But I don't mind it being the Empire. But as we all know, if you're gonna name yourself that, then we know the side that's gonna win is gonna kick your asses. The rebels, the Alliance. So don't mind it whatsoever. But they have the money in the bank, which is now black and gold. What were your thoughts on this segment, Johnny?
I thought it was good. I liked what what Braun said. I mean, everything that Braun said in his promo about Sami Zayn, I was like, we've said that on the show.
Word
like,
per word.
yeah, everything. Like, he was like, I hate his music. I hate his. He doesn't work out enough. You know, we're like, yeah, we've said that. We've said that. We've said that. So I liked it. I liked that they each kind of got their time to shine. I thought it was good. And one thing, like, I mean, I don't want to spoil the episode, but I mean, that's what you're here for, is our raw reactions. When they were doing this promo, I was like, if any of them lose tonight, this is a bust.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we'll get into that later. But I thought it was good.
Well, I thought it was good too. Angel, your thoughts on this?
The setup, the foreshadowing of Roman Reigns being called out,
right?
That stood out to me. And also Braun taking the mic right off the bat. I did not see that coming. And just
Seth and Paul, I mean, just in the background, just making all types of faces.
And I've been saying since this faction started, like, why is Braun there? He's a star. He needs to be like the opposite of this. He make his own faction. He should be a leader somewhere. So
I forgot what I was gonna say. Never mind. Skip me. Go.
No worries. Well, as we move on, we get to our first piece of action. Kairi Sane, who was back to being the Pirates. Speaking of pirates, shout out to my favorite anime, One Piece. Hey. And she was in a match against the Prodigy, Roxanne Perez, and this was I think a pretty fantastic match, Angel. We ended up seeing the Kabuki Warriors reunite. We saw Roxanne get involved. This was, this was a pretty good match where we saw Kairi Sane defeat Roxanne. I don't mind Roxanne taking the pin here because, the match was great. And I would say the crowd, in terms of their, they really bought into Kairi Sane. So it was something that there were some concerns a couple of weeks ago. Like, no one really cares, but they're now starting to care. I think this was a great match, especially that we got to see the Kabuki Warriors, reunite at the end. I am a big fan of Asuka. What are your thoughts on this, Johnny?
Well, I'm gonna disagree with you on one thing. I did not think this was a good match.
Okay.
I like how it ended, and I like
That's
that
fair.
they didn't make Kairi take a pin. I like that the Kabuki Warriors are back. I thought I thought Asuka looked phenomenal tonight. When she doesn't have the clown makeup on, absolutely gorgeous woman. But like, I liked all that. I thought the match was bad, and I blame that not on Kairi. There were so many things that Roxanne messed up in this match. Now, I want to preface this by saying we're all allowed to have an off day every now. Like, I'm not at all saying, we've sang Roxanne Perez's praises ever since she got called up to the main roster. So, like, I'm not out on Roxanne or anything like that. This was just a bad performance to me. I thought that in the beginning, the kind of like the pin transitions that they do in a lot of female matches that I don't like, but those did not go smoothly in this match at all. There was one moment where I was like, somebody's gonna get hurt in this match, and it was I believe on one of Roxanne's moonsaults. I'm having trouble remembering, but it like wasn't lined up properly, and I was like, God, this is just. I expect more from both.
Technical wise, it was a bit.
Yeah, sloppy. Technical wise, I thought it was sloppy. The storytelling wise, I thought it was good. So that's where I'm at on it.
Angel, what do you think?
I'm just glad Kairi Sane's getting a little push here. She's not taking the L's like she was a few years back when she was first in the WWE. I did hear a lot of stuff online like, hey, these girls have no chemistry together. That's probably the first time they face each other. So, it'll get better. Maybe at the tag team match at Evolution 2, we'll see some better stuff. I did have a when Asuka and Raquel came out, I thought that was pretty sloppy. It was pretty. It looks like really slow. Like I don't know because Asuka has that knee brace on. Maybe they're trying to protect her and make sure she don't get hurt.
Yeah,
But
not only that, they
it's-
had some regular, they had some regular street clothes on.
It looked
yeah,
like they were hesitating, right? Like,
yeah, like they didn't want to hurt somebody, so I don't know. But
Well,
it was still
they're
cool.
being cautious because the
People get
one of
hurt.
the biggest events for for women's wrestling is coming up on, and that's Evolution. Speaking of Evolution, we saw after this moment that Nikki Bella is entering herself into the battle royal as well as
Stephanie Belcher.
as Ivy
Oh, Ivy.
as well. She asked General Manager Adam Pierce when they were talking about El Grande Americano, and we'll get to that moment in a second. But a lot of short moments were happening. The biggest short moment was Sami Zayn telling telling the reporter that he does have a lot of things on his plate. He doesn't have time right now to worry about his ribs. You talk about foreshadowing in the first segment, Angel. The foreshadow of Sami Zayn's, ribs being a problem in this, potentially as the night goes on, as we know, ended up becoming true. But you had 3 moments right there. You got the Kabuki Warriors also getting a tag team title match at Evolution as well. Um, a lot of things you did in a short span. Don't mind it whatsoever, Angel. What do you think?
Man, I thought it was great, and we got to see Karrion Cross finish that job, finish Sami Zayn off before that match started. So yeah, we got to see a lot of stuff. We can Karrion Cross every week now. We love to see it. People wanted it. He's here.
People wanted it. He's here. People wanted the wrong killings back, and now we are seeing that hype kind of died, and we'll have that conversation at a later date. Johnny, what'd you think about the New Day in mourning?
I thought it was funny. I thought it was really funny.
They found their new thing.
Yeah, like this was solid to me. Xavier Woods like had like the bonnet and everything on. I thought it was like no notes. Thought it was great. Circling back a little bit for the rest of the stuff in this this like backstage portion. Nikki Bella, who cares? Like, right? Like, am I the only one that does not care at all
Angel cares.
about that?
She's Mexican, have to care.
I mean,
I thought it was a good promo, but I mean, I think the roster's stacked as it is.
in all of Mexico's fantastic wrestling history, I think we can
She's up there, top five.
we can let Nikki Bella slide. I think,
Dude,
but
if she wins the Rumble, how are you gonna feel?
but
I
mean, I thought
Triple A's woman to come, but I just don't know if we're ready for that on this side of the border.
I'm ready. I've been ready. But I thought, all the carry and cross stuff was great. More importantly, we got Scarlett on screen. That was great. She said one word. That was enough. All of the backstage segments on tonight's episode as a whole pretty much slapped. Like, I mean, we can go way back earlier in the show.
Judgment Day.
The Judgment Day thing was hilarious.
Hilarious. I forgot about
Like,
that.
they
Yes.
set
Cracking
up
up.
like a little
Memorial for Liv.
memorial to Liv and all that, and the whole the cake
AJ
for
Styles.
Dom. Like, dude, that they were the producers and writers. They were cooking with backstage segments this week.
Well, because a lot of the matches were building towards things, right? So you have to have some, some kind of comedy in there somewhere. We see the matchup between Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker first start off with Sami Zayn being attacked by Karrion Cross, as Mr. Angel mentioned. And then we see, I think, a perfect heel and babyface match here. And as much as I dislike Sami Zayn, Johnny, man, he knows how to work a match. He knows how to get the hell beat out of him. And that's one thing that I love, in my main character. That's why I love My Hero, the anime, because Deku, he was blowing up his hand. That's why we love John Wick, because not only does he murk 30 people, but he's thrown through 40 glass windows and 20 flights of stairs. Braun Breaker, man, as we continue to mention every other week, he's just the future of this company. He said it himself earlier. I could be the face of this company for the next 20 years. And just his spears to Sami Zayn to eventually just put him out, just, were electric. Great match, great segment. What were your thoughts on this, Johnny?
I was gonna be well, Angel was texting in the group chat during the match, and I agree with what he said. He in the middle of the match said, "If Sammy somehow wins this, I'm gonna be pissed." Yeah. I was like, "Yeah, I agree. The right guy won." I'm still sick of Sammy. I've been talking about that all week on social media. There's this page I follow on TikTok. It's two really awesome ladies that do wrestling content. I think their page is called the Main Event Mamas. I think. Shout out to them. They're really funny. Go check them out. But I was commenting back and forth with them because they love Sammy, and I was like, I hate Sammy and blah blah and all this stuff.
I hate them.
Yeah, so we're going back and forth. Shout out to them, but the right guy won.
Angel, what do you think?
To quote the Undertaker, no one else should do the spear besides Braun Breaker, and I would die on that hill. That is the nastiest spear. In WWE right now.
I mean, like in terms of spears, yeah, it has to be up there. I'm always down for a Goldberg spear. I'm always down for a Roman Reigns spear. I do not want to see a Jey Uso spear ever in my life. Moving on, we see a segment between Becky Lynch, Bayley, and Miss Lyra Valkyria, and I have to say, I didn't care. Right. I said that, I said every one of these short segments slapped, but I think this was one where, we've seen before. And it's just, you have kind of the old and and the now of WWE. Well, I mean, I guess you could say the future as well with Live Valkyria. I will say this, shout out to, to Becky and Bayley for helping put over a Lyra Valkyria, because she has been getting a lot of love recently.
Yeah, I mean, I think I cared a little bit more than you, but still not like super invested. I agree with what now I know what Becky was saying was written for her and it's a work, but like I agree with her that like that why does she have to face them in a triple threat? Like they had a number one contenders match and neither one of them won. She should be able, like within the mythos of WWE, she should be able to pick a different opponent. She's beaten both of them already. Like everything she was saying is like, yeah, if you really think about it, like she's exactly right. Yeah. It didn't really make me care about the segment anymore. I thought, and we're just looking at three ridiculous styles in the ring, like clothing wise. At one time, is a lot for the eyes. It looked like they raided a Goodwill, but. Other than that, it was like, all right, that was kind of go get you some popcorn, go take a bathroom break.
I thought the Bayley and Lyra stuff was pretty good, but Becky kind of was like, oh, I don't really want to be a part of this. You guys both tied or lost. I shouldn't be a part of this.
As much as we said, we're uninterested. I know for a fact this probably is going to be one of the best matches, of Evolution.
Yeah,
so
how it goes.
That's fine. I'll take that. I can't wait to say, man, that was one of the best matches of the night. As we move on, we see Bronson Reed versus Jey Uso. And, this was a match where we didn't need to see Bronson Reed win because he had one goal, and that was to annihilate Jey Uso. And he did his job. I will say this. I don't know which one of y'all laughed at him for every time he's jumping off the ring and he's waving his arms like that. Now now it just sticks out, and it's
But
like,
all you can see now.
yeah, it's all you can see now, and it's like maybe it makes him look faster, maybe it looks like he thinks it's too high, but
Yeah, that's what it makes me think.
right,
Defying
He's like-
gravity, bro.
He's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
right. So it's just, he did his job. A fantastic entrance from Jey Uso. Still don't think he's more popular than Jeff Hardy. As Jeff Hardy said, on a podcast just last week, I was as big as Obama.
I saw that. That's funny.
Oh, and I also saw, that he first denied the request to join the WWE Hall of Fame and instead wanted to go in as a Hardy Boy with Matt. Shout out to Jeff for that.
Rightfully so. That team should have
Rightfully so, because one, they should both be Hall of Famers, and two, like for the past 20 years, Matt Hardy has just been like rolling Jeff Hardy's carcass to the ring when he's strung out on God knows what, and he's like, please just get through this match. So I mean, Matt Hardy deserves to be there.
I think as a tag team they deserve it. I don't know about individually.
No, come on now. I think they should get in as
Matt?
both. Yeah, come on. You're talking about a multiple-time cruiserweight champion, an ECW World Heavyweight Champion, all his accolades as a tag team champion. I'll say he gets them.
Now, me personally, and I've told Angel this before, but I don't think Ruben's ever heard this. But out of the Hardy Boys, I was always a Matt guy.
Well, weird.
I was a Matt Hardy guy.
Weird.
I think to be fair, I think I was just trying to be be different whenever I was little and
You
like,
wanted to
oh,
slap
y'all
a
like Jeff,
tornado?
I like Matt.
Oh, you like that
but-
cool guy that does high
yeah.
fly moves? Well, I like this other guy version.
I like the
Yeah.
guy that's more reliable
You
and
like the side
professional.
effect instead of the whisper in the wind.
But that
Matt
kind of
version 2?
yeah, I kind of stuck with that, and like to this day, I like Matt better. But I do think both of them deserve to be in individually. Them as a tag team is a no-brainer. They should be in there. I would say comfortably top 2 tag teams of all time.
Yeah.
In the WWE, and you can debate on
Who's the other one? The Dudleys?
takes that other spot. No, I hate Bubba
Christian.
Ray with a passion.
A lot of people do.
Okay.
A lot of people do.
Bubba Ray is kind of he's kind of a turd, Like I've been seeing him on that LFG show, and dude, he's so full of himself. Like
Wrestlers write about him on their books that he's a freaking asshole.
he thinks he's one of the greats.
Yeah, I think the top 3, everybody's top 3 should have the Hardy Boys in there, and
Edge
then
and
you can. I would put Edge and Christian in there. DX, even though they were more of a faction, not really a true tag team. But you have other guys like you have Legion of Doom and all those guys that you
Rock
can
and
put
Roll
in there. But the
Express.
Hardy Boys are a no-brainer.
The Usos are up there.
I'll put him up there.
I would put them up there, and I would put the New Day up there.
Ooh, yeah.
But all that to say, like, the WWE Hall of Fame is probably the most useless award in
Everyone has 2-3 rings.
in like any sport, any organization or whatever.
Yeah, what is it
Because
do for
if
them?
you've been on the roster for like 10 years, you could have not wrestled at all. But you were on the roster for 10 years, you're eventually going to get put into the WWE Hall of Fame.
I hope they don't. And like I don't want to see Nenzo in the Hall of Fame, or like I don't want to see Jamie Noble in the Hall of Fame,
He was a good cruiserweight.
Nah. Or the Boogeyman. Like, he didn't do nothing either.
I don't think I ever seen him wrestle.
I thought, I'm not going to lie, I thought Boogeyman was in there already. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that, but I thought he was.
Moving on, because we got sidetracked. That's just how much we love, this WWE stuff. We get a great match, a funny match here between Dragon Lee and El Grande Americano. And I have to say, you bastards, I told you so.
We said that last
I
week.
told you so. As soon as I saw Ludwig show up in that moment, I was like, that's going to be the new Grande Americano. And Johnny looked at me and said, Ruben, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. And he left the episode.
I don't think those were my exact words.
He left the episode. And I'm here to say, I told you so. Now, Ludwig is killing it because you see the aneurysms where he's doing what what Grande Americano were doing. And then you see him do what Ludwig does, and that's put his hands behind his back, walk with the great posture. And I love this. I called this, which is why I love this even more. Johnny, what were your thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, we already gave you your flowers about this while you were gone last week. We said we ran it down. We said you called it and everything. But no, this is just good, fun content. Just the fact that Ludwig is about 6 inches taller than Chad Gable makes the whole thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question about this. This is a question that my wife asked me because she's sitting there watching with me, and she asked me, and I honestly hadn't thought about it. I'm just, hey, I'm a white guy from Louisiana, so what do I know? But she asked me, she was like, do you think that this, like with Chad Gable doing this, with Ludwig doing this, is this disrespectful to like lucha culture? And I was like, I don't know. I'm going to ask Angel and Ruben because I know Angel is like a diehard lucha fan, like from his whole life. So, like, do you see this as disrespectful in any way?
This is why I love my people, because we don't care. We don't care. And I don't think Angel, am I wrong here?
Okay, cool. So,
Yeah,
okay, cool. So I don't have to feel bad about like
That's
it's
it's
hilarious.
They do that angle a lot in Mexico, actually. Like they bring Dolph Ziggler or some other big old white guy, and he wins the title in Mexico. And there has to be a payoff though, where one Mexican luchador is going to get over off of all of this. Don't know where it's going to lead to though.
But it's working. I got no issue with it.
I'll tell you who I'd like that to be, Angel.
Who?
I'd like for the guy that he hasn't been introduced into this storyline at all. But I mean, we know Chad Gable's long history of losing to luchadors.
Vikingo?
And all that. I want it to be Vikingo. Like, I want him to be the one that gets over out of all this.
Well, they had that badass match.
Yeah, it was fantastic. But like, he's not like in this storyline, is what I mean. Like they had a match a few months ago and it was a banger.
Dragon Lee, you could just call on him and he'll put out a pretty good match, Angel.
That guy's great. It sucks that there's only so many open spots, to be the top guy. There's already enough filled, so it sucks. But he's gonna be good in the next couple of years. Maybe we'll get a rising star out of him.
Oh, I want to tell y'all one more thing that my wife said in tonight's episode about this.
My wife.
She said, she said, you know what? The WWE needs to have a specific luchador belt. And to that, I said, no, I disagree. One, there's too many belts already. Yeah. Two, I feel like that would be disrespectful. Because if you put a luchador belt out there, what does that tell you? They ain't never going to put any of the main straps on a luchador. And I want to see, especially, we'll talk about it later, but especially after tonight, I want to see Penta raise that strap at some point.
Dude, I will cry.
And there's a ton of other luchadors I'd love to see. Like, it was great when we saw Rey Mysterio get it. It was great when we saw Eddie Guerrero get it and all that. Like, I want more of that. I don't
This
want
will
a
be
separate
When we
belt.
see Penta win that, that's gonna be a big day.
I'll buy a
That's a-
mask.
Especially for him,
I
right?
will too,
Because
Angel.
he always said this was his goal, right? And it's like as much as we just talk shit about him, this is what Bubba Ray said. This truly is the big leagues. And if we see someone like Penta who who was in AAA to Lucha Underground to New Japan to AEW to now WWE and hosting that up, and we know what he loves to rep, and that's the red, white, and green. Cinema, Angel, cinema.
Cinema.
Angel, if and when Penta wins a main event belt, so that's either the WWE strap or the World Heavyweight, I too will buy a mask, and I think we should do a whole episode in masks.
Oh, I've been planning on that. Been
What I hope
planning on
they
that.
do is how, and this is what I want WWE to start doing, as they have this collab with TKO and UFC. I want the champions themselves to have some gold in their attire. So hopefully we get to see like a little gold trim on a Penta mask. But I think that will be something cool they should do.
Dude,
I
you're
like that.
in my head. I was just saying I want to see him in that championship gold gear. That would be cool. I think it should be more than trim. I think he should come out like just full on gold.
Yeah.
Gold on gold on gold.
That would be sick.
And then as we move on to our main event, which we saw Penta come out and have a very, very physical match with Seth Rollins. I think this was, kind of an internal battle, right? Seth Rollins, the homegrown talent, Penta, the big free agent signing. These two go at it. We saw LA Knight get involved at the end. We know who wins. That was Seth Rollins. But Johnny, I think this was a great way to end Monday Night Raw, and especially we get to see LA Knight, being over towards the end.
Dude, this was one. Where was Raw tonight? Dude,
I don't know because
forget.
that crowd
That crowd was hot. That crowd was hot, and that definitely added to it. But dude, no. I mean, what did you expect with the main event out of these two? Seth Rollins and Penta? Dude, make that the main event every week. I'll watch it.
Rhode Island.
Do what?
They were in Rhode Island.
And hey, shout out Rhode Island. I think the whole
Rhode
state was in there. But
what's they doing in Rhode Island?
I go to Raw. That's about it. But
the whole town was there.
But
Was there.
go to Raw or watch Family Guy. That's about all. That's about all they do, right? Sorry,
Shout out Rhode Island.
Shout out Rhode Island. Shout out Rhode Island.
We're from Texas. We don't know.
For all we
don't
know,
about
there's a
small
whole mob
states.
down there just watching us and be like, "Oh,
That's like our only fan base.
Right.
They turn on us.
Yeah,
No, I thought
I
it was
texted you
great.
guys. I texted you guys saying that proves Penta is a main eventer.
100%. He hung in there like
But Seth
You
freaking
know-
how
Rollins.
okay, how long
Yeah.
until you think we got to put the goat on him?" I mean,
on Penta.
yeah, because when you're thinking Royal Rumble, you're thinking Cody Rhodes, you're thinking guys like that, and I don't feel like Penta's there yet.
Yeah.
But the next Royal Rumble isn't going to be till January. I could get there by January. Like, I mean, I would see Penta as a better Royal Rumble winner than Jey Uso. So
top five?
Why not?
Facts.
We like to see it. That
Well,
was a great match. Run it back.
run it back.
Whenever Seth's champ, which hopefully is this weekend.
You've probably seen it on the news, all of the flooding in Kerrville, Texas, and all of those campers that are missing. Obviously, thoughts and prayers go out to the families that are affected by that. And it's just terrible freak thing that happened. Love to see our Texas-born HEB stepping in and rolling out, the cavalry. Here in Texas, we don't need FEMA. We got HEB. So shout out to them. Keep working hard and getting these people the supplies that they need, and thoughts and prayers go out to them. There's another thing. We've never done anything like this before. But, I'm from Houston. Angel's from Houston. Ruben's from Houston. Ruben's the only one that still lives there. I live in Lake Charles, Louisiana. There is a little girl here. She goes to my church. Her name is Oakley. And she's 4 years old. Unfortunately, she is suffering from brain cancer. And it has been a huge financial strain on the family. So they're organizing all sorts of stuff. They're doing a 5K run and stuff like that. You can also just make donations to them, and we'll put a graphic up here. There's going to be 2 QR codes. There's a QR code if you want to sign up for the 5K run. I don't know where you're at. This run's going to be in Lake Charles, Louisiana. If you're in the area, awesome. If not, there's another QR code which will give you information to make donations. I believe there's a GoFundMe and all that. So we just want to say thoughts and prayers to Oakley and her family, and so support in any way you can.
Absolutely, prayers, to everyone. Well, boys, this was a great episode. We'll be back next week. You guys have a blessed one.